I want to give you guys a little information on, I'll say newly minted head coach, but of course has a wealth of experience and a wealth of allegiance to the Jackson State University family, and that is head coach T.C. Taylor. So Coach Taylor, I went to the website for Jackson State, and I'm just going to read a few nuggets from there because I think they are just as excited about you as the entirety of Jaguar Nation. So as it reads, one of the greatest Tigers to ever don the blue and white has ascended to the position of head coach at his alma mater. Coach Taylor was named the 22nd head coach for JSU football, and he officially took the reins of the program following the conclusion, of course, of the Celebration Bowl. He is a former JSU QB as well as wideout. He's been a part of the football staff since 2019, coaching tight ends and wide receivers, and has played, of course, a key role in their historic run the last couple of seasons, where JSU posted a 23-3 record over those 2 seasons and won back-to-back SWAC championships. So, without further ado, let us welcome to the stage Jackson State coach T.C. Taylor. And Coach Taylor will ask you to have a seat, and if you would just give us an opening statement telling us a little bit about what you guys are looking forward to in the upcoming season and how excited you are to be here for representing the SWAC for the MEAC SWAC Challenge.
Thank you. It's truly a blessing to be here today as the 22nd head coach of Jackson State University in the city of Atlanta. Me and Mr. Grant, we talked about it yesterday. If you think back from 2019 to this point, Jackson has played in the city of Atlanta 3 times. So this is going on the 4th time. I can't say enough about the MEAC SWAC Challenge, the cricket organization, and the things that you guys do for us putting this together. Unbelievable event. Unbelievable event going on over here, and we're truly excited about it. All the sponsors as well. But we're looking forward to it. Like I said, we're back in Atlanta on a platform of ABC television. First-time head coach going against the legendary. There he is over there on the corner sitting in the front row. He just smiles. That's all I know about him. He just smiles every time. But I know one thing about him. He's going to bring a good football team in Atlanta, and they're going to be ready to go. We was talking about it earlier, some of the battles we had when I was at North Carolina Central. He was still at South Carolina State. But we had some great battles there. He has developed some great players. But our football team is pumped and ready to go. You know, I talked about it yesterday at SWAC Media Day. You know, a lot of people don't know because of all of the turnover on our roster this year. You know, we lost close to 60, 70 players, so we brought in quite a few new guys. But they're ready to go. We reported on Monday for training camp. We'll have our first practice this evening at about 5:30, so I'll be trying to bust it out of here real quick to catch a plane to get back because I'm excited about this football team. Let me say something about this. We lost a lot. We brought a lot in for as coaches, trainers, and everything is new, but all of them got one thing on their mind, and that's starting in Atlanta and finishing in Atlanta. And we're excited about it. They preach it on a day-to-day basis, and we'll start that journey here, you know, in about, 31, 32 days. So I'm looking forward to it. Thanks again for having us, Mr. Grant Cricket, all the sponsors in the building tonight, and I'm ready to go.
Thank you so much, Coach Taylor. And yes, that smile is very familiar to me. I was just talking to Coach Buddy Pough a couple of minutes ago, and interesting, like you said, Coach Taylor, Coach Pough is very familiar with starting in Atlanta and finishing in Atlanta. And that's the last time I saw you when South Carolina State finished in Atlanta. So just a little bit about Coach Pough. As Coach Taylor mentioned, he is the all-time winningest coach in South Carolina school history. It's his 21st season. That longevity in college football is not to be underestimated. Now, during that 21-year tenure at the school, he earned a bachelor's, he earned a master's, as well as all MEAC honors as an O-lineman, and has compiled an overall record of 146 and 87 and 112 and 42 as his MEAC worksheet, and he captured his first Celebration Bowl championship in 2021, of course, knocking off top-ranked Jackson State, but I know you have something to say about that, to win his 5th HBCU national crown. So without further ado, the pride of South Carolina State, Coach Buddy Pough.
Thank you.
And Coach Pough, I'd like to give you an opportunity to share a few words with our audience as well.
Thank you very much, Tanisha. Did I get that name right? Because John
Close enough.
Close enough? It's a pleasure to be here. It's exciting to be back at this time of year. You get football kind of going again. Our guys are getting ready to go. I'd first like to bring you greetings from our president, Alexander Conyers, our president of South Carolina State. I've got my AD here, my boss, Ms. Keisha Campbell. Got some other folk here. You see them scattered around the room that came to support us here today. And we just look forward to getting this season going again because it's been a long time since we won a football game. And I don't know if y'all realize it or not, but we hadn't beaten anybody since North Carolina Central last year. And, we talk about how good we played in the Celebration Bowl the year before. We came back and thought that we would be pretty good this past year. And it was a disappointing year for us. So, you Celebration Bowl guys, you SWAC, MEAC Challenge guys, you MEAC SWAC Challenge guys, let me tell you something. We just want to play football at South Carolina State. I guarantee you, it's been a long off season. So we are looking forward to this game, in a way that, we got to get it going again. So it's been a long time coming. We are extremely excited about the young men that we bring back into our program. We've got some change from the time that we were here the last time. A good many of our players are different guys from this point. It'll be a good football game. I guarantee you, Coach Taylor, I can remember when he was coaching back at North Carolina Central back some years ago. He and part of his staff that he's got now, those guys, have kind of reunited and kind of put that group back together a little bit with the group that Coach MEAC had up at Central some years ago. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you that they got after us in a way that really gets our attention. So it'll be a tough game for us. It'll be a fun game for us, I guarantee you, to come here to play in, this really nice facility here, that Georgia State is allowing us to, to partner with and play this game with. John, all of you guys, Tony, we appreciate you guys. You guys do a fantastic job. ESPN, this is wonderful in what you guys have done for the conferences, MEAC and the SWAC conferences, putting this thing together. We've got the best thing going, maybe in college football, between the Celebration Bowl and the Challenge game. So we're excited about being here and looking forward to it, and hopefully we go out and play really good on this coming 26th of August, and we'll see what happens. Thank you so much.
I've alluded to this as well, but I want to kind of circle back to it because I think it's very important. And I mentioned it as well in my opening, the fact that this challenge just continues to evolve just in terms of what it offers both on and off the field. Of course, we kick things off with a high school seminar. That's Thursday, August 26th. We then move to the welcome reception on that Friday and the Coca-Cola fan experience that, of course, precedes the game kickoff on ESPN. Now, when you think about that, it's more than just a game, right? So I wanted to ask you all from your perspective, how important is it to have such an expansive experience as it relates to just shining the spotlight on the amazing talent and treasures that we have here in HBCU college football?
Well, anytime you have a wonderful occasion such as this and you gather folk, you want to try to have some real meat and potatoes of what you ought to actually do to support your community. We all trying to influence young folk in a way that we want to create something that's going to spur them on to greater things in the future. And the things that we can do to encourage them surrounded by our game, because it's what draws them in. But once we get them, we're going to do some real good things for them to get them going in the future that way. So anything we can do that way, I think, is a great contribution to our community.
I think that weekend is going to be special. You talk about platforms for HBCU football in itself. And, for some things to be lined up from Thursday all the way up through that football game, it's good for the South Carolina State. It's good for Jackson State. It's good for all the HBCUs to have that platform. That's why it's so important for us to put on at all those events, even with the football game. Everything is on a high-level stage, and, everybody's looking. And you're talking about from East Coast, West Coast, North, South. Many people don't know a lot about HBCUs, and that's our time to shine. That's how I look at this whole event coming up.
Indeed, indeed, coaches. And just to add a little bit to that, I was speaking with a colleague of mine this morning, and he was saying, yeah, there are games played on week 0, and there's some random game played at Georgia State. I said, I'm sorry, excuse me, what?
Exactly.
Random game? No, this is no random game. This is the start of college football, so this is big, and I had to make sure that my colleague understood the importance of this game as it relates to not just HBCU college football, but the entirety of college football. So thank you all so much. And then I want to just toss you guys another quick question before we send it over to the media and our audience. So I'll ask you both this question, and whoever wants to answer first answers first, but maybe I'll toss it over to you, Coach Taylor, first. Of course, the SWAC released its preseason SWAC team standings, if you will, or its preseason poll, and that was released on yesterday. Individual winners, predicted order of finish, all SWAC teams, et cetera. Specifically in the East, FAMU's projected to finish #1 ahead of Jackson State. Is that motivation for your team?
I mean, it's always motivation, but I look at the preseason, no games been played. That's a team that's going to have to see us following that the MEAC SWAC challenge, and we'll take care of that business then, though, but that's a lot of minds coming together. This nominating players and teams that they hadn't even seen, and that's what I said about it yesterday. They don't know. They hadn't seen the new Jackson State football team, and we're going to show them, coming about 31, 32 days with what we've been cooking all summer. It's been a great summer off season for us. I'm excited about it, but it's all about the postseason. What do you look like at the end of the season? That's what we're excited about.
Yeah, and making a decision before toe meets leather is always interesting, because before those pads get put on, it's just conjecture, right? And Coach Pough, the MEAC also released its preseason all MEAC teams last week, along with individual winners and predicted order of finish. South Carolina State's actually projected to be about in the middle of the pack at #3. Is that motivation for your team?
It is. Anytime you're not there, in the eyes of your opponents, you're a little bit concerned. But I can tell you that, I was worried about us being voted last. So now you're talking about being voted in the middle of the pack. They actually gave us a little bit better credit than what I would have given us, given the circumstances. The only good thing about it is, you want to try to get a chance to sneak up on them a little bit. So if I'm farther back, then I got a little longer runway that way. But hey, we'll see. It's exactly what Coach Taylor said. Any of that kind of stuff is motivation for the year. It gives you an opportunity to say, hey, look what they think about us. We got to do something up, that kind of stuff. So at that point, then we'll get a chance to use that to our advantage.
Mason Smith with HBCU Legends. Coach Pough, the first game of the year also has a unique challenge because you don't know how rosters change. Even they have a lot of people back. What challenge is it for your team, seeing that Jackson State's roster has had so much turnover in preparing for the first game of the year?
It's hard. You don't know exactly what to prepare for. You got to go around and figure out all kinds of angles to possibly figure what they might do based on the fact that they've got different players, they got different coaches. And, our season is almost entirely that way in the early part because we play Jackson the first game. They've got 2 new coordinators and a new head coach. Then we go to Charlotte, and they've got a totally new crew at Charlotte. Then we come back to Georgia Tech, and I'm sure you all aware, what's going on over there and the fact that they've changed around their staff. And then we go off for a week, and then we play the Citadel. And the Citadel's got a totally new staff. So it's just kind of business as usual for us that we don't have a clue what anybody's doing. The only good thing about it is we only open with 2 of those teams. We do open with Jackson, who will have not played a game with their new staff, and then we open with Charlotte, who has also not opened, who will also not play the game yet. It'll be there. We play week 0 and week 1 against 2 new staffs. So it's a little bit of an issue that way, but you know what? Once we get out there and get to playing, we got to kind of figure it out as we go.
Question over here.
Thank you. Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab, 12 HBCU football championships between the 2 programs. But I wanted to get a little bit into the X's and O's, and I know you're not going to tell us too much, but Corey Fields is coming back in terms of the quarterback play. For you, Coach, what does that look like in terms of going up against the defense of Jackson State? And for you, Coach Taylor, on the opposite side, what do you want to get done with your defense in terms of this new regime, particularly going after a quarterback such as Corey Fields?
Yeah. Anytime you face a quarterback like Corey, you got to be disciplined. That's what we talked about. Some of the things that he can bring to the to a football game, you know, beat you with his arm, with his legs, you know. So we got to be disciplined. We feel like the strength of our football team is on the defensive line. You know, we got great depth over there. We got some guys that can really play. I feel like our coaching staff hit on some good transfers, some guys that really can play at a high level. You know, over the last couple of years, we've been so successful because we've been #1 defense in the country, you know, in turnovers and things like that. So we want to continue to preach that going forward. You know, to me, defense wins championships, offense sells tickets. You hear that all the time. But we live by, die by that. You know, but I'm very excited about that defense. You know, I think that was a kid that played against us and did a heck of a job here in the Celebration Bowl a couple years ago against us. So we're excited about the challenge, you know, getting an opportunity to go up against him again. And like I told the D-line, you know, and our defensive staff, you know, just make sure you're disciplined, keep him in the pocket, those kind of things, you know, and see if he can beat us with his arm.
And then Corey is a wonderful young man who has finished his undergrad and is in the last semester of his graduate degree in phys ed. He'll be a athletic director, a teacher, or something of that nature. You know, pretty soon, right? He wants to be a high school athletic director, and he's been a really mature guy in a way that, you know, he's almost like having a coach on the field. So it's great having that guy back. Now we've got a new offensive coordinator, so it's a little bit different kind of setup as far as how we do stuff, given those circumstances. But it's always good to have a guy in your scheme that kind of half the way you can depend on to know what to do.
Travis McGee, HBCU Ball and Show. Coach Taylor, I met you last Celebration Bowl. You have a lot of confidence, and Coach Buddy Pough, I met you at the Celebration Bowl before that, and I want to jump right into it, man. How has the transfer portal helped both of your programs on both sides of the ball? I mean, I know you lost a lot of, you know, players here and there, but tell me how the transfer portal, you know, helped your program.
You want me to go ahead?
Listen, you the transfer portal guy. I'm just kind of sitting there with the same little ragtag bunch we had the last time. Go for it. I need to know too. Go for it, TZ.
I get that question a lot about the transfer portal, and it has paid dividends for Jackson State over the years. Everybody knows that. You know, the departure of Coach Prime, you know, a lot went to Colorado, a lot went to other places. So as far as bringing in my new coaching staff, we talked about, you know, we got to go hit this transfer portal. All it is right now, you're dealing with NFL free agency. You know, the thing about it, the thing that we do a good job of is vetting those guys that we bring in. You know, you can't, a lot of times I tell them, like, you inheriting other people's problems sometimes, so you got to make sure you're getting the right kid. And we've done a great job of that. You know, I was concerned about the summertime and how all of them would gel with like close to 60, 70 new guys. But the chemistry has been crazy. You know, it kind of scares me at times to see how well they come together and how quickly they did. But it's been good for us. I have to say that we're going to continue to recruit out of it. What we also try to do is get some young guys. There's some young kids in there that are in there because of playing time issues. They have, you know, 2 and 3 seasons left. So, you know, they're still able to buy into your culture and your program. You know, and I feel like we did a good job with that. But basically what we did in December, you know, once we started getting so much turnover, we had immediate needs. You know, and we started to attack those needs out of the portal. So, you know, as far as vetting the kids, understanding the parents, you know, you check with the parents and where they're coming from, and also reaching out to the coaches and the staffs that they previously came from, you know, and trying to do a good job of that and making sure you're hitting on the right ones.
We did have 3 young men to transfer into our program this past Christmas, this past January. One tight end from Chattanooga, a linebacker from Delaware State, and a corner from Alcorn. Is it Alcorn or Alcorn?
Alcorn.
Alcorn. we had that conversation a lot. Anyway, we have 3 in, and then we lost 2. We lost the Davis twins, BJ and Shaq. Both guys, well, actually Shaq left him he went through the portal to the NFL, and BJ went through the portal to East Carolina, and we actually lost a running back too. So it kind of balances out for us. Whether it's good or bad, I'm still kind of figuring this thing out. It's kind of toward the end of an old man's time, and I don't know sometimes if I can figure out between NILs and transfer portals, it gets to be a pretty good little deal to figure that stuff out. So I'm just kind of sitting there watching, trying to see what's next. Thank you.
Question to your right.
Emmanuel Glaze, the Crush Sports Talk. Coach Taylor, we know about the previous regime and what was going on and everything that went on at Jackson State. What can people and fans expect from the Coach Taylor regime at Jackson State?
Continued success. We want to continue our winning ways. Like I preach to our staff and our football team, everybody in the building, trainers and all. We're the two-time defending SWAC champs. Hadn't lost a SWAC game in 2 years, so we want to continue those ways. Something we always talk about too. We want to be a more physical football team. We talk about adding physicality. Our strength coach I brought in over from Texas Tech, Jalen Watson, he did a heck of a job this summer with those guys for us, changing their bodies, changing some of the mindsets. Like I said, we had, anytime you bring in like 60 new kids, new players, you got to mold them and get them to believing in the JSU brand and way. That he did a heck of a job with that, as well as my coaching staff. We started training camp on the other day, they reported, but, I'm here now, so I feel comfortable enough to be here, and know that they taking care of everything. But those are some things we talked about, the physicality of our football team going forward, and just making sure all these guys accept our culture and the winning ways and all the success we had in the past.
Good morning, gentlemen. This is Roy Evans with the Black College Sports Network. And I have a question for both, but it's kind of experienced two sides of the same coin. Last year, Jackson State was top 3 in both offensive and defensive statistically. Coach Pough, this is your 21st season as a head coach, and you've probably seen everything in this league. Coach Taylor, if I'm not mistaken, this is your first head coaching position.
Yes.
And so you're new into that chair. How does that statistic, or those two statistics, really mesh as you're getting prepared for this first game of the season when nobody's going to see what's happening with such a high turnover on your team? So, Coach, from your side of it, preparing for them, and then Coach Taylor, for you preparing to go out with this new turnovers on your team.
I think it's hard for us to prepare for a team that we don't know much about with the circumstances the way we have them placed in front of us. It's a tough deal to not know personnel and possibly coaching staff. So we've got a little bit of an uphill battle in front of us, and we've got to get good fundamentally at just doing the base things so that we can then go in and just have a good sound approach on both sides of the ball. And then as the game goes on, then we'll figure some things out. But at this point right now, we are clueless as to what scheme-wise these guys are, personnel-wise, who will actually be in place because of the fact that it's just, our information is just so limited.
We got to keep it that way too, Coach.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think Coach hit it on the head. You just got to get back to the basics, when you're dealing with anytime you're playing that first football game. You talk to your football team about coming out playing hard, executing, not turning the football over and finding ways to beat yourself. Coach got a couple new coaches on the staff too, like he said. So I know that, we've been trying to figure out and, do our research on what we may see and how they may come out and play us. But it's just about coming out and playing hard, getting your football team motivated. I don't think we'll have a problem getting them motivated anytime you're in the city of Atlanta. And, when JSU Nation shows up, that energy is going to be in the building, but we just can't find ways to beat ourselves. And, and the main thing is it's going to come down to both teams, who's ready for the fourth quarter. Who's going to be ready in the fourth quarter, because a lot of adjustments are going to be made throughout that football game. We'll be filling each other out like a boxing match, and when you get to the fourth quarter, it's like now we got to figure out a way to win this football game.
Jake McDonald, Core 360 Sports. Coach Taylor, Atlanta, as for all his glory, has not been too kind to Jackson State, dropping 3 ball games here. What will be your brand? I mean, we know what Coach Sanders, his brand of football was when he was at the helm, but what will be your mark? What will distinguish the Coach Taylor Jackson State football team?
As far as I think it's the preparation of our football team, and how well we do as a staff, getting them ready to play, and getting them ready for the entire event of that week. As far as travel, everything is organized, getting on the plane the right way, looking the right way, getting off the plane the right way. As far as pulling up to the hotel, looking the right way, looking the part, looking organized. I think all those things come into play when you talk about a successful football team. Kids look for organization. They're big on the organization piece, and, they critique coaches as well on that kind of stuff. So we try to make sure we get everything right. But just going forward, like I said, it's those things as far as preaching physicality, playing hard, and my main thing, with all the new faces, again, just playing together and understand, this is going to be a physical football game. Coach Pough, ever since I've been going against him, he's coached some great NFL talent, Darius Leonard and some other guys, and they'll hit you in the mouth. That's what I'm trying to get these guys to understand. It's not going to be easy. This is a team that beat us 2 years ago, and they come into Atlanta to win another.
Macy, you heard Crush Sports Talk. This is for Coach Taylor as well. Have you enjoyed the quiet as we get ready for the 2023 season? Not all the cameras, not all of the social media stuff, just the quiet as you get ready for the season.
What quiet you talking about? Dwayne, I ain't experienced the quiet shit too. No, I haven't really experienced the quiet yet. It's been, I've been having to go here to there. I was in Detroit visiting the alumni association up there. It's been quite a whirlwind. That's what me and Coach was talking about earlier. I'm ready to get back to the X's and O's. I've been in suits I'm not used to all this. I wanna go coach football. My team missing me, I'm missing them. But it's been a blessing. I'm just taking this all in. God has told me a long time, I would be in this seat. I didn't know it was Jackson State, but I knew eventually somebody would give me an opportunity to be a head coach, and I'm gonna make this work. Make sure I put the right people around me that got my best interest in heart, believe in God, believe in family. That's who's been with me through this whole process, and I'm just excited and taking it all in. But I am ready to get on this plane and get back to a little football, though.
Question to your right.
BJ Jones, Black College Sports Network. And this is a question for both of you. Coach Taylor, taking over a new program, your alma mater, you have the big stage, SWAC MEAC Challenge, national broadcast. How does that benefit both of your programs when you start sitting in living rooms and recruiting young men to come to your programs? And more importantly, how does that impact HBCU football as a whole?
Yeah, I'll go first. I don't know of anyone who did not see the last ABC broadcast that we played Jackson State here in the Celebration Bowl in 21. I'd be in the grocery store and old ladies who I had no idea would sit and watch a football game. Coach, I saw y'all play Jackson State. Y'all beat Dion. And it was like an unbelievable experience in a way that I just never really realized that kind of activity resonated throughout the country the way it did. So it's good to be don't sell ESPN and ESPN2 and all the other little brothers they have down the line a piece. But when you go on ABC on Saturday evening at 7 o'clock, then you're going to get a big benefit from it, and your university is going to get an advertisement that they almost couldn't afford to buy otherwise.
Yeah. I think it's huge. You look at what happened on yesterday. I think ESPN picked up the rest of our season. So we want to take that and go with it. The way recruiting is now, we talked about the transfer portal. You get all eyes. You get all eyes. So when you get those kind of moments, it's important for, regardless of who's on that platform, to go out and show a good brand of football. That's how I look at it. You don't want things to be sloppy, a lot of penalties, jumping off sides. You got 13 players on the field. You just want to make sure you're putting on a good brand of football and letting these networks and these platforms know, we're playing good football in HBCU. We're doing good things. You look back this past season, we only had one guy drafted. And just going forward, we continue this platform. This is a great way and a great benefit for the players to go out and show that they can play on the next level as well. So I think it's huge for all of HBCU football. and recruiting.
Question for both of you. Coach Pough, coming off of a disappointing campaign last season and starting off the season here against the defending back-to-back SWAC champion, how do you use that as motivation to prepare your boys to jumpstart the next season? And to Coach Taylor, do you plan to keep the swag and overall environment of this what you had in the prior regime, or are you going to just put your own stamp on it and just run things a little differently over there?
I think it's pretty obvious when you look around that some of the people who were there last year, as we were going through the issues that we went through last year, are no longer there. And, that's motivation in a way that you'll always know that with success, you get benefits, and with failure, there are some benefits that also come about. So I can tell you that we've had an unbelievable off-season getting ourselves up and running, getting ready for this coming season in a way that I don't know if we could have had if we had the success that we'd had. We thought we were a little bit fat around the edges after having gone through that good season in 21. And we didn't have a great regular season even that year. So we got a little bit ahead of ourselves. We came into last year thinking that we were going to just kind of go out and it was going to happen. I think we know better now. So we got to see if we can make it happen in a little different manner this 23 year.
When you say swag, what do you mean exactly?
Just, like the flashiness, that everything was video. Like we followed every single step of the way for 3 years. We know everything that y'all been doing. Like, you plan to just kind of keep everything rolling like that, or kind of button that up a little bit?
I'm putting my own particular spin to it. I'm not a big flashy guy. I'm more of a quiet guy. Quiet as kept. I like the players out front. You look at what we did this spring. Under Armour came in and did a mini documentary for us, and it was more about the players. But no knock. That's not no knock against Coach Prime. Great career here at Jackson State. I learned a lot from him. One thing we had in common, he was a first-time head coach, had a lot to prove, and here I am, a first-time head coach with a lot to prove. But I'm still wearing my shades out on the field, if that's what you call it, swag. I work out every morning, so, but, that energy got to carry to my players. It carries to my players. I got to walk in confidence, and that's what I do on a daily basis. I speak in confidence, and I think that got to carry to the football team, and it will. You look at the way they approach the game now and approach practices, they're a reflection of me. They're a reflection of me. But I'm not a big talker. I'm not a big talker. You won't see a lot of the social media stuff that you've seen in the past. A lot of it will be a lot more about the players, because I'm all about them elevating too as well. And Coach Prime did that, previously also. So it's just a little bit different, different era, different things going on moving forward. And then another thing is too, a lot of those kids that was there for him are not here no more. They playing for TC, and that's the thing going forward. So they're going to kind of take on more of my image and the way I approach things. Yeah.
Ernest Ricks, MTMV Sports. Coaches, I want to know from both of you all, from the standpoint of your students, from your players, what does it mean to them to be in the SWAC MEAC Challenge?
I'll go first, Coach. For us, I know we talk about, it's a little payback. To be honest, you get another opportunity at a South Carolina State team that, kicked our butts on TV a couple years ago. They really came out and, like I said earlier, hit us in the mouth. So, once this game was announced, Mr. Grant announced this game and said that we was going to be in this football game, man. And, we had guys licking their chops. And what's crazy about it, we talk about all the new people, but, they fired up. And I be telling them, like, y'all don't even know nothing about this game, Even the coaches, they fired up. I'm like, man, y'all don't know what's coming, So you try to prepare them on a day-to-day basis and let them know, this is going to be epic, come August 26th. And just understand, that, like I said earlier, the platform that we'll be playing on, and understand this, Coach Pough is going to bring a team that's going to hit you in the mouth, and going to play a physical brand coming out of the MEAC.
Mm-hmm. I think our team is motivated to play a SWAC team. The league is somewhat of a rival of ours. It's just a regular deal. Anytime we play one of the teams over there, and they've taken a couple of our teams, there have been some things that have gone on that have created some rivalry kinds of style of thoughts with our teams. So anytime you look across the letter right there and you see a team that you really know is coming to get after you the way Jackson is going to get after you, I think it's pretty easy to get yourself up to play. Anytime you have a year the way that we had last year, though it's not Jackson, it's anybody. Anybody that shows up in front of us at that point, it becomes a real big deal for us to have, our best foot forward. And at that point, then we've got to, then let it happen.
This will be our last question two last questions from the audience.
Yes, good afternoon. Or should I say good morning? This is for both coaches. Michael Jefferson with Block Sports. Question for Coach Pough first. The MEAC is considered to play a much physical brand of football over the SWAC, at least that's a lot of people say that. My question is, do you agree with that? And Coach TC, watch you play football back in the 90s, are you planning on bringing that type of physicality that you played under back to Jackson State?
We think that the style of ball between the two leagues is a little bit different. The SWAC's a little bit larger league. It's flashier. They got bigger stadiums, some of those kind of things. We think that our league is kind of a down-home kind of league. But now everybody in our league is pretty much even. Anybody on any day can beat you. We think sometimes parity between us sometimes gives people a little bit of a confidence that they think that we're not very good. And the fact that we all pretty good, we feel like is maybe the one characteristic that kind of fools people a little bit about us. So I can tell you that we think that we do a better job overall from top to bottom. Now, our top is a lot closer to our bottom because there's only 6 of us. But the 6 of us all will get after you on any given day. And we think that might be what makes us different from the big league over here with the 12 schools.
That was good.
Vicki Jones, VMH Magazine and Sports right here. Vicki Jones, VMH. Oh, you finished? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
We did play a physical brand back then when I played, but the game was so different, as opposed to now. Thinking back then, we was talking about my coach, Big Daddy Carson. We were doing 3-a-days. You wake up in the morning, practice, go eat lunch, come back and practice, and you back over there at night. You practicing. So NCAA not standing over you. Things are so different now. So you find ways to try to preach physicality. It's even the way you have to approach practices now. There's no more Oklahoma drills or things like that. So I think physicality is one in the weight room. That's where your strength coach come into play. He's spending a lot of time with them, putting, adding muscles to the body, getting them faster and things like that, and just trying to continue to preach it. Because, I talk and they hear about how good of a player I was, but every one of them out there think they can come out there and, dominate me. I hear it all the time, but, just the game is so much different now than opposed to the time that I played the game. So you're just trying to find ways to, implement some physicality drills in practice and, get that going with your football team.
Okay. Vicki Jones with VMH Magazine and Sports. I'm going to say this as quickly as possible. Before the lights were on, to the degree that they are now in terms of exposure, ABC, all the networks, ESPN, everyone seeing HBCUs as a whole, you guys were doing it. The drive. I don't want to assume, but what drives you and continue to drive you before the lights to do what you do for HBCUs, leadership and coaching?
It's a joy for me to go to my office every day and mix with my coaches and players and all the people around our program that way. So it's pretty easy, even though I've been doing this for 40-some years now, to get up and go to work in a way where I'm not thinking about retiring. It is a pretty safe bet that you never have to say, man, boy, I sure don't want to go to work today. This is a wonderful opportunity for me to get out of my house and go out. And the guys do everything from teach me how I don't even wear my phone the way you old folks wear your phone. You know, y'all got clips on your side. The boy said, no, coach, you don't wear it that way. You put it on like this, you know, that kind of stuff. Now, I got to have a little bit of, I guess, maybe oversight when I deal with their music, because now when I have music playing during practice, and we looking for crowd noise, and so everybody now, the in vogue thing is for you to have these big speakers and DJs and all that kind of stuff out there doing practice to have some kind of noise element going. So you have to have, you know, the communication dealing with the noise that way. But at the same time, man, I don't know if I can handle some of the stuff that I hear come over the speaker waves that way. So, you know, there are things that I enjoy, and there are things that I sometimes have to take a little bit of a step back. But I can tell you, it's more fun going to work in my particular situation because these guys keep me young than anything else that I possibly could be doing.
I think the thing for me is the development of these young men. You know, watching them, you get them. When I'm recruiting these student athletes, I always talk to these parents and talking about we running a relay race, you know, and I'm running that last leg for you, getting them ready for life. And just to see, you know, a young man come into your program at no matter the age and just see the things they do, what we call at our program, we get them ready for life after football. You know, teach them resume build, how to write a resume. We take them through mock interviews and things like that, and just get them ready for the real world. You know, I tell them all the time, football can open so many doors for you. You know, it did it for me. That's why I'm here sitting in this seat. You know, it's all about relationships and the people that you know. But that's my motivation, to get up every day and just get them ready, not only for the games and the pageantry of, you know, those weekends, it's to get them ready for life. You know, nothing makes my day better when a previous player I coached would call me and say, Coach, I'm doing this now. You know, I'm working at this company right now. I'm doing that. I remember you told me this, Coach. You taught me how to write a resume. You remember you helped me pull that up online and showed me what I need to do. That's why I do this. You know, that's the motivation I have in this in the game.
ESPN Events is thrilled today to announce the most highly anticipated marching band competition ever. A season where rhythmic beats, melodic harmonies, and outstanding showmanship will culminate with the crowning of a national champion. This year, the season-long road to Atlanta and championship weekend just widened. Not only will the road consist of football and the crowning of a national champion at the Cricket Celebration Bowl, HBCU marching bands from Division I and Division II will compete through the season to earn the right to showcase their talent in Atlanta and vie for the coveted title of Band of the Year. From perfectly synchronized formations to breathtaking musical arrangements, this competition promises to be a feast for the senses. When you think of homecomings, classics, and home games, they now take on an added meaning, and every performance counts. Our esteemed panel of judges, experts in the field of marching band excellence, will be led by the foremost expert in marching bands, Mr. Don Roberts. And Don is here. Don, will you stand and raise your hand, if you would, please. Don is a veteran in the band director community and served as the president of the Minority Band Directors National Association. Mr. Roberts serves as the executive band consultant for the 20th Century Fox hit movie Drumline. He was responsible for the training the actors, writing the precision drills, rehearsing the bands, and etc. Mr. Roberts was also appointed as the executive band consultant for the VH1 and Fox television studio movie Drumline: A New Beat, which was the long-awaited sequel to Drumline. He served as band consultant for Beyoncé's Homecoming from the Bleachers at Coachella in 2018 and has numerous other accolades and awards. He is the real deal. And we are excited to partner with him on this first-of-its-kind competition. Our judges will meticulously evaluate each performance and produce a bi-weekly ranking posted on ESPN.com. But it's more than a competition. It's about celebrating the power of music, the camaraderie it fosters, and showcasing the competitive work of the talented student athletes and musicians. Never before has this stage been so big or the performances meant so much. So come out or tune in to follow your favorite bands, applaud their hard work, and be a part of an unforgettable experience. Now get ready. Mark your calendars, spread the word. Gather your friends and family for an incredible event of musical brilliance at the Band of the Year. Join us on December 15, 2023 at Mercedes-Benz Stadium as we showcase the immense talent and dedication of the top HBCU marching bands in the nation who have earned their way to Atlanta as they vie for the title of national champion on the eve of the Cricket Celebration Bowl Championship weekend. 2023 is sure to be an unbelievable year, something you don't want to miss.